like, oh, we don't have a XYZ, so let me make one. We don't have a bookstore. Now we have 2. I mean, not including Barnes & Noble, but we have 2 independent bookstores now in Midland. So there's some things like where people are like, oh, we don't have insert, let's make it happen. And I feel like I always say that oftentimes places I've lived, it feels like it got cooler after I left. And then now I'm like, I'm in Midland, Odessa when it's becoming so cool, because like I'll have friends visit, and I know that also people are like, what? Visit Midland, Odessa? And it's like, yeah, because there's cool things to do. And every time, like, I feel like I have friends that leave and they're like, oh, can you send me the coffee from Far West? Oh, can you send me the Texas trash from Susie's? Like, I have a list of local products that like friends ask for Christmas. That's awesome. From me that I send out.
Yeah.
So.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
You know, because things are created. We are a super innovative.
Yes. Opportunity. That's like, if I had to describe Midland, Odessa, I'd say opportunity.
That's what it is. Yeah. And it's just getting started, kind of, right?
Yeah.
So,
out west where the sun always beams bright. Midland skies keep the hustle in sight. BAM Consultants got the blueprint intact. For dreamers on the grind, they got your back. Championing dreams from the ground to supreme. Providing that spark, igniting the team. Marketing flow strategies that glean. BAM in Midland, building your dream. They teach
BAM! All right, we're here, BAM BizTalk podcast. I am here with a special guest today, Miss Ginny Van Doren-Truong.
Van Doren-Truong.
Van Doren, see,
I have all the names.
you got the names going on. So there we go.
Yeah.
And the name of your business
is Backstage Event Marketing.
Backstage Event Marketing. Event marketing.
Yes, and so we provide marketing support services for the arts and entertainment industries. So my elevator pitch is just live events, making sure that people come to live events, tickets are sold, what have you, and not to be confused with event planning.
Right.
Yes, so that's why I did add marketing to the name. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
Boutique marketing agency for Midland, Odessa.
Live events.
Yes.
We need more of those.
Yes.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm so busy with all of those. So,
so you're saying there's a market for it?
Yes, very much so. And I came to Midland in 2017 by way of Wagner Noel. I got asked to come and be the director of marketing because the current director of marketing, they were preparing for her to become the general manager, Miss Stephanie Rivas.
Yeah.
And so they needed somebody who could kind of hit the ground running. And so I checked all the boxes and was really interested in the fact that Midland, Odessa at Wagner Noel was doing 200 shows a year. And my previous venue in the Austin area was only doing 32 shows a year. And we had 80 sporting events. So I was interested in cutting out the sporting events and moving more into the live music, performing arts type of role. And so that brought me here. And after being with the company for 10 years, 5 years here, 5.5 about at Wagner Noel, there's, as those entrepreneurs, that was always in me. And I kind of looked around and I just thought, well, Stephanie's doing a fabulous job. I don't necessarily want her job, but what job do I want? And I, with her blessing and lots of tears, I was like, this is where my calling is to start my own marketing agency. And she blessed it and I felt good about that. And she's a mentor still to this day. And so just jumped off the deep end. And I knew at first I thought I would be just doing a lot of one-off events, but what I have found through trial and error and the hard part, as we kind of talk about with entrepreneurship, is that wasn't very sustaining, and I needed to get into a retainer type of business. And so that is, I started in May 2023, and by September 2023, I had a contract with Odessa Arts and the Ector County Coliseum, as well as Showbiz West Texas.
Okay.
And then just kind of took a year to get used to that. And then brought on a director of marketing. And now we also provide marketing support services for the Tailgate Midland.
Growing your team.
Yes.
So when you have a contract with one of these organizations, it's for every event that they do there.
Yes.
You're
And
organizing, planning, getting it going.
And they're like calendar year. So Odessa specifically is October 1 through September 31st. And so operate on that calendar with them. And then Showbiz West Texas, we're a calendar year. And so that has been sustaining. It feels very comfortable as far as we know with entrepreneurship, like it's hard to predict if you're like completely freelance, like how much money you're going to make every month. And I just need a little bit more stability. And so quickly made the pivot from just signing contracts that were solely just one-off event based to retainer service. And then we probably still help about 5 events or so a year. And sometimes that's in Midland, Odessa. And that has also been in the Houston area as well. So,
Oh, wow. Okay.
so yeah.
In Houston, that would be like a one-off event?
Yes.
Doing over there? Okay,
Yes.
gotcha. Okay. So, I mean, it almost, like logically, you would have to start to prove yourself to do the one event there, right? To kind of build.
Yeah.
before-
Well, as we know, reputation is everything.
Yeah.
And so,
Especially.
yes. Yes. I think like service based as well, because sometimes it's hard to be like, well, I don't necessarily want to spend that kind of money for somebody to do something that I think I can do. And I'm rolling my eyes like people thinking, I think I can do our Facebook. I know how to do Facebook ads. And it's like, okay.
Okay.
So all that to say that it has been doing the one-off events has been great, but then having that consistency with retainer clients really has also allowed us to help them grow as well. So
That was going to be my point.
with Odessa Arts, it's been fabulous because we've been able to help with their membership campaigns 2 seasons now for membership campaigns and 2 seasons now of their black and white ball. So there's and Shakespeare Fest that they do. So black and white ball was sold out this year. So that was an awesome feeling. Shakespeare Festival, this was the second time that they've sold out in the last 5 years. So kind of pre-COVID finally coming back to full capacity for them. So it's been really awesome to be a part of that success and help them achieve through marketing strategy.
Awesome. Right. Yeah. Like that whole, it feels like we're back fully from COVID.
Yes.
Yeah. Completely on the other side.
Yes.
Okay. It's a distant memory.
Yes.
You know, every once in a while I still see somebody in the car with a mask, but
Yeah.
whatever. Right. I mean, maybe they were doing that before COVID. So you don't know.
Each their own. Yeah. Yep.
But what we're talking about here is strategy, right? Because you are growing, because the consistency, I think, is good for you, right? For sure, because you know what's coming up. But also for them, because they're not having to find a different, event planner or not event planner, but, put their events on to help them put it together every single event they have. Right? You're on the calendar. You're already preparing months in advance.
Exactly.
You know what's coming up. They know what to expect. So it's like a symbiotic kind of relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been a fabulous partnership. And I just am so thankful because where I started with giving Stephanie is like a 2.5 month notice. And just kind of like, I had some time off in May 2023 and just hit the ground running in June. It's funny, you don't know what you don't know. And at the time, like having retainer clients didn't seem like a thing.
Right.
Like in my brain. And I had other entrepreneurial friends saying like, oh, I don't like retainer clients, but it works for me. It makes me feel comfortable. So
right. So that speaks to like every business is different.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Every business model is different.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe marketing in general, right? somebody be like, oh, I don't want to stay on retainer. I don't want to hire anybody on retainer, you know. But you're in,
Right.
right? And there's many that can do it at that level.
Right.
So let's rewind a little bit, right? You mentioned Austin,
Yes.
right? We're at in Austin.
So I was at the HEB Center, formerly Cedar Park Center, and
Okay.
Cedar Park, Texas is
Yes.
about 15 minutes north of Austin. So
Yeah.
so that right out of grad school to be the marketing coordinator there, and did quite a few roles in my time with them over the 5 years, and had the marketing manager role, and then also had the event manager role. So got kind of wide breadth of the entertainment industry, and I realized sports were not something I wanted to stay in long term. So
Yeah. But being in Austin,
yes.
you were still able to make a lot of connections in the arts world, I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially
And then
music.
yeah, and also just going to conferences, and that would be like one piece of advice is, expand your network outside of your community as well. And conferences really, really helped get to know other people. And then there is a friend of mine, he also has a marketing agency, does the same kind of thing, but we both met when we were working for other people. And he's probably was like a year and a half out from me as far as launching his business. And so that's been really fun to see his growth and kind of have somebody else go before you and be like, yeah, it's possible.
Right. 100%. And then, hey, this is my situation. And, you look at it as it's a dual mentorship, right? Since you're both, because here's the thing with mentoring, right? If you have a mentor that's way, 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 way super ahead of you, they might not be able to help you with your next step. You want to be able to take that next step, confidently.
Right.
So having somebody that close to you, that you can bounce your ideas off and, hey, I have this situation. What do you think? And it was like, oh, actually, I just went through that.
Right. Right.
Right. And here's who's still active
Right.
doing it, and there's just all kinds of pluses. So that's great advice.
Yeah, well, one person told me early on, find a business mentor 3 years ahead of you. And so I did that with Mr. Ryan McGuire.
Shout out Armic Systems.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, what's up, Ryan, buddy?
So Ryan has been fabulous, and just we meet once a month, and it's just really kind of he's been so kind, being an open book. And I'm like, how much money should I have in on cash, for my business? What are you using? All kinds of stuff. Yeah. And then he's also been a tremendous referral. And then we've also had the pleasure of, I feel like we probably do a speaking engagement probably once a quarter together. So that's really, really fun. Most recently, we were at the Nonprofit Management Center talking about just basic best practices for marketing your nonprofit. And then we're going to be speaking at a music-friendly meetup in Odessa in June. So
a music-friendly meetup?
Yes.
What does that mean?
So one of the many awesome projects that I get to work on for Odessa Arts is the fact that Odessa as a whole has a statewide designation as a Texas music-friendly city.
Oh.
So it's an application that they have to go through. They have to say their intent, and then also have a handful of things that makes them qualified. So Wagner Noel, the Ector Theater, any, bars and stuff that have live music, from Flair Taverna to Rooster's Diner, what have you. So all of that ecosystem that's already in place makes them eligible for this designation. And so Odessa is hosting the West Texas Regional Meetup. So that's Lubbock, San Angelo, and then El Paso. So, the west side of Texas, all getting together that first week of June.
Super cool.
Yeah.
So I had no idea.
Yeah. And so part of the big kind of like master plan is to expand that designation from Odessa to Permian Basin. And so that's
Yes.
kind of like a 3-year out plan.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it's similar to what we kind of talked about with BAM, like and Founders Blend and some things like that. Like once you kind of have the model in place and you've been able to make that successful, being able to expand.
Expand it. I love this so much, right? Because coming from Austin, right?
Yes.
That we're used to just music like,
Everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a good thing. And one of the complaints that I had when I came down here is like, yeah, you can go catch live music.
Yeah. And so another thing that I do for Odessa Arts is their quarterly magazine, Beacon West. And so we did an issue in June of last year, and there's literally music every single day in Midland, Odessa. So I put together just essentially a list, and I think it was like Mondays, but a lot of the problem with Monday is that bars tend to be closed on Mondays. And so Monday there wasn't live music, but like in Midland alone, there's live music regularly at Blue Door, at Texas Sun Winery, Little Woodrow's, like you name it.
Yeah.
The Tailgate Midland.
Tailgate. Yeah.
Every weekend at the Tailgate Midland, there's some kind of live music going on. So.
Yeah. Cotton Flat Records.
Yes, Cotton Flat. Yes.
And just here recently, I've been really looking into get the BAM patio. So that's put me
More
on
live music.
Yes. Yes. So how do people to that?
So if you just follow Odessa Arts on Instagram and Facebook, we are utilizing that as the umbrella.
Okay.
Kind of like keeping everything within that brand. And so for First Friday ODTX and also music friendly things, you can catch that on Odessa Arts.
Okay.
And then also sign up for the Odessa Arts newsletter. My team and I work on that every month. And we not only plug cool things like the music friendly conference, but we also give you a rundown of everything happening for First Friday. And then also a lot of like field things like when a lot of like ECISD, fine arts recently, I feel like almost every day they have some kind of like really cool newsworthy thing.
Yeah.
Somebody's being recognized for their talents. So sharing things like that. Irene Perry, who's a board member of Odessa Arts, she recently received an award for her teaching. And so some fun things like that that you may have missed if you're not a subscriber to the Odessa American or MRT. So
yeah, but yours focuses on
arts.
Music and arts.
Yes.
Yeah, and that is certainly something that I would love to see nurtured.
Yes.
And expand. Because I believe that that's what we need.
Yeah.
This is what this area really needs, and it's no fault that.
Yeah, and I think that's so Angel and I were at a joint Midland and Odessa leadership seminar yesterday, and one of the things was talking about basically kind of like since the 80s there's been a lot of transient people and just kind of that mindset, but then now you're seeing people kind of like stay beyond their 2 years,
right?
And so there has been able to be kind of that consistency. So we know things are happening like live music, what have you, but there necessarily hasn't been a base to like share, hey, this is what's going on. So
right, that was an interesting discussion, right?
Yeah,
because they said there's like a 20-year gap.
Yeah. And the people who are like currently CEOs in the Midland Odessa area to like, next level management,
Right.
which totally makes sense.
Yeah. But the culture wise, now we're building that foundation to where we do have a fairly young baseline.
Yes.
Right. I think Midland is like 31.
Yep.
And what they say,
Odessa is 35.
34,
Yeah.
35. Yeah. So it's a lot because it means families are staying
Here.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Because there's more to here now.
Right.
And then with the arts, well, that's a huge part of life.
Yep. quality of life.
Quality of life.
In downturns, it's been proven that people will still spend money on entertainment.
Right.
Hey there, bookworms and knowledge seekers. Ever wished you could find everything you need in one place? Look no further than the Ector County Library. We're not just about books, though we've got plenty of those, from the latest page-turners to classic favorites. We're talking free high-speed internet, tech classes to boost your skills, and awesome programs for all ages. Kids can dive into storytime adventures, teens can hang out and study, and adults can join book clubs or learn something new. There's always something exciting happening at the library. So whether you're a student looking for homework help, a job seeker needing resources, or just someone who loves to learn, we've got you covered. Swing by your local Ector County Library and see what we're all about. It's more than just books. It's a whole world of possibilities. Ector County Library. Your adventure starts here.
The BAM BizTalk podcast is brought to you by our sponsor, Pachuco's Restaurant. Craving authentic and eclectic cuisine in Midland? Well, Pachuco's has you covered. Located in downtown Midland at the ever-so-legendary and iconic historic building at 316 North Big Spring Street, Pachuco's blends rich and unique flavors in a conveniently pleasant and vibrant atmosphere. Enjoy the highest quality barbecue, savory tacos, burgers, and a variety of other mouth-watering dishes that reflect the spirit of a true Pachuco cuisine. Real, authentic, and just plain different. Check out their menu at www.pachucos432.com or call 432-218-8806 to inquire, or better yet, just show up and get your shine on. At Pachucos, where heritage, exquisite taste, and hospitality come together for an unforgettable dining experience. Pachucos, Midland, Texas. Now back to the show.
And so that's job security. And I think that there's only maybe like the last 6 months of 2020 that I've felt like maybe I don't have job security anymore. But
that was a rough year.
Yes. It was
Yeah.
a rough year for us all, for sure.
That's a year we just kind of tie up and.
Yep.
Because nothing was
Yeah.
it's completely turned upside down, inverted, but like we're saying, we're on the other side.
Yes.
We saw the horizon. Okay, we're there. Now what?
Yeah.
Right. But for music to become you said it's an everyday thing.
Right.
You can catch something somewhere.
Yep.
Which when I lived in Austin, I knew for sure you just throw a rock and there's.
Yeah, you did a live musician.
And it's just the music life.
Mm-hmm.
I was part of it, got caught up in that and just had a blast.
Yeah.
So I would love to see something here and even help nurture that as well. With different venues coming together. Pachucos is hosting music events at their place, but there's lots of places starting to have more acts, and then what you can see in the music acts themselves there's not it used to be what I was getting to before is that you come here, there's cover bands, and that was kind of it, right? It's kind of like a classic band,
Right.
Just different versions of it everywhere,
Right.
But now you're starting to see actually
Original
music, and that's something that is vitally important, right? Because it's fresh, it's new, it's coming from here, right? It's like we're beginning we can express ourselves.
Yeah, and we've seen success from this region. So we've seen Flatland Calvary make it big. We've seen like Treaty Oak, and a fun story that my friend, a mutual friend of ours, Stacy, always tells is she hosted an event where Treaty Oak played for free in a backyard, and I was the one who told her, I was like, this is the next band. This is the next thing. And so it's really fun to see some of those people like literally catch them on their way up. And it's been awesome to be able to be a part of their shows when they come back. So I had the pleasure of doing both a Flatland Calvary and a Treaty Oak show at the Horseshoe basically since I started my business. So over the past like 2.5 years. So it's been fun to also see them like go from backyard to Horseshoe stage, 5,000 people plus.
That's awesome. So awesome, right? You track their beginnings.
Yeah.
see them they made it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. And so you do a lot for the tailgate.
Yes.
They have a lot of big acts coming
Yeah.
there.
And so one thing that they, I think, do really well, they want to provide, an atmosphere where you're going to have a good time. You're going to see some great music, and it's a place where you want to spend your weekends. And so that's kind of been at the core of what they've tried to accomplish and why they started their business. And so it's fun to see them now in year 3 be at a point where they're like, okay, now we're doing too much. We need help. And that's where we come in.
That's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Good trouble to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when they first started, because I've been driving, I drive there every month, right? And just always there's something different popping up
Yep.
all the time. And like, wow.
And this year they're really focusing on diversifying the entertainment lineup. So there's See There that will playing in March. La Mafia is coming in September. They have, some things that's their bread and butter, like dueling pianos, and then also a ton of country. So they are really trying to bring something for everyone, which is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the dueling pianos thing.
Yes.
Right.
That's so much fun.
It is. That was like staple when I lived in Austin.
Yes, Pete's.
And before Pete's, there was La Luna. Something Luna. It was this great little hole in the wall. It's not there anymore, but that was great with the dueling pianos because you were so tight and packed in.
Yes.
you
Yes.
get to the top of your lungs.
Yes.
It was awesome. But Pete's is super cool, and but yeah, I love that that's here.
Yes.
I love that we can expand on a lot of that. And I'm excited for to see this grow.
Right.
Especially with the music and arts, because it's needed.
Yes. And I think, again, it's always been here, but now that there's some folks that have been around for more than 2 years, it's like, okay, yeah, this is a thing.
Because that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we're starting to create our baseline, our foundation.
Yeah.
It's here.
Yeah. And again, like it's always been there, but it's just like now just amplifying it.
Right.
And giving people like, a reason to stay here on the weekends. I feel like when I first got here, the mailman said that Midland, Odessa is a suitcase town. I was like, what? And he's like, because everybody has their bags packed because they're leaving on the weekends. And I was definitely guilty of that when I first got here.
Yeah.
And then really like COVID made you stay. And then I feel like that was almost like the challenge that some local business owners needed to like, oh, we don't have a XYZ, so let me make one. We don't have a bookstore. Now we have 2. I mean, not including Barnes & Noble, but we have 2 independent bookstores now in Midland. So there are some things like where people are like, oh, we don't have insert, let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
And I feel like I always say that oftentimes places I've lived, it feels like it got cooler after I left. And then now I'm like, I'm in Midland, Odessa when it's becoming so cool. Cause like I'll have friends visit, and I know that also people are like, what? Visit Midland, Odessa? And it's like, yeah, because there's cool things to do. And every time, like I feel like I have friends that leave and they're like, oh, can you send me the coffee from Far West? Oh, can you send me the Texas trash from Susie's? Like I have a list of local products that like friends ask for Christmas.
That's awesome.
From me that I send out.
Yeah, so. That's super cool.
Yeah,
because things are created. We are a super innovative.
Yes, opportunity. That's like if I had to describe Midland, Odessa, I'd say opportunity.
That's what it is. Yeah. And it's just getting started, kind of, right?
Yeah.
So a while back, I was talking with Brooks Lang, right? And he was explaining the long-term history between the Permian Basin, Odessa, Midland area, and Austin, right? The capital. And the reason the infrastructure was so dilapidated and hadn't really been worked on in decades was because we supposedly hit peak oil in the late 70s, right? In the early 80s. Oh, well, it's going to be a ghost town soon.
Yeah.
And for sure, those booms and busts back were busts.
Right.
We're leaving this almost a ghost town, and the booms were crazy.
Yeah.
Insane. So it was nothing was controlled, but technology, because of the fracking, horizontal drilling, and all these other kinds of innovative things that the oil and gas is doing out here, what stabilized it. So now your booms and busts are much more
Yeah. Aren't as deep.
Yeah. Which allows for like a foundation.
Right. Right.
And that's what's happening. Now all this construction is going on everywhere. Well, it's because now, especially on highways, Texas state highways, it's because, we can invest there now. We can allocate resources there now because
people aren't going anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So now there's a future.
Right.
Right. Which is, I never looked at it like that, but when he broke it down, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Right. So that means the 10, 20 years here, it's going to be exponential growth.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And so through a small little plug for Leadership Odessa and Leadership Midland, if you haven't heard about it, it's run by both chambers, and it's a year-long commitment where you get to really get to know the ins and outs of our cities. And so it's 2 separate programs. Typically, applications go out in May, and then the program starts in September. So if you get a chance, go check it out. Angel and I just completed it.
Yes.
And we got to talk with MoTrans, so the Midland Odessa Transportation Alliance, and they were saying how like there's going to be like 2 new highways coming through in the next 10 to 20 years. And one is like I-27. Yeah, that's going to be within the next like 5 years or something like that. And so like I think that's just, again, opportunity. And another imagery that I saw through my time with Midland Odessa was this, they're calling it the beacon photo. And it's like Wagner Noel and then all of this stuff around them. So with the new mental health facility, with the Wildcatter Trail, with all of these other businesses that Jerry Seinfeld's going to have to learn a new joke because his whole thing was Wagner Noel just looks like something that came out of the ground and shouldn't be there. It's going to be surrounded by so much infrastructure, small businesses, retail, you name it. So I'm really excited to see that growth, and the fact that it's going to happen in our lifetime is also really, really cool.
Yeah. Those programs you were just speaking at, Odessa, Leadership Odessa, Leadership Midland. Yes. I just went the one, you just went through the Midland one. I'm on the waiting list to get into the Midland one, but it is recommended. Right?
Yes.
You get to meet awesome people.
Yes.
And not just meet them, but you bond with them over a year's time.
Yeah.
They become friends. But at the same time, you're meeting all these community leaders, these different departments that you never even thought, you just took for granted.
Right. And like, I mean, some people may know this, but I had no idea that the traffic lights are actually 7 feet tall. And so for the Midland one, we went down to the traffic department and got to see like where they make the signs. And so it's kind of fun. One of the things that I mentioned on the review was, I know the guy that makes the signs, like the road signs, like we got to meet him. He has like his little shop.
Yeah.
And he's like constantly innovating things. And so if you're in the Midland area and you've seen the like red border that got added around a lot of the street signs, that was his idea. And it's like legitimately decreased speeding by 30%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because it's just brought more attention to the fact that you can only go 60 on 250
on the street, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That was super. So when my daughter first started driving, we've been, we live in we, come to Midland a lot, but not till she first started driving on her own, she came back and she said, Dad, Midland street signs light up. She was like, just, excited about that. She's like, that's crazy, but it's like, she's like, but that's cool. Right. Like she just got so about it, It's like, well, it's a thing, but that's, I didn't know that what you just said.
Yeah. And so it's just so much fun, and it's just really cool to see the interworkings of our community and get direct access, as you said, to community leaders. So
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
Highly recommended. And this is the first time where the Midland and Odessa leadership organizations met
Yes.
for a session,
Yes.
and that was fun.
That was really, really cool.
Yeah. And at the perfect place,
Yes.
at next to the
E2PB.
seed
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
Was great. Colin Sewell was there, and I didn't realize a lot of his history.
Right. Yeah. That was probably going to definitely be something that's going to stay with me for a long time is Colin's talk and hearing about his journey through leadership and also like where he sees Midland, Odessa. And I think the thing that I just commend is the change your attitude or change your address.
Yes.
And I'm like,
yes. That made total sense.
Yeah.
And it is the thing. It is definitely a thing. It's not nearly as pervasive as it was, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Especially 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Because it's true. Right. Like, and yes, Midland and Odessa are different. Absolutely. They're different, but we are all still a big family.
Right.
Right. We're
same team.
Right. Absolutely. We're talking about the competition.
Right.
Of who gets,
competition. I forget what Shelby Landgraf was.
I think,
word that she made up, but it was apropos.
Yeah, because we're talking about the Bass Pro Shop, we're talking about Costco, right? And then all the behind the scenes things that went on just to have those and where they ended up after so much negotiations between both cities. And then, okay. You guys got it. Good job. I'm glad because it's here in the Permian Basin.
Right. You still get to enjoy it.
Yes, It's here. So whether it's in Odessa or whether it's in Midland, hey, whoever gets it, we all win.
Yeah.
And I think that's an attitude that really needs to be cultivated here.
Right.
More and more and more. Right. Because it is true. It was brought up that Midland people won't go to Odessa, but Odessa people don't mind coming to Odessa. I mean, Midland, at all. Right. All day long, they brought it up, and I was like, that was probably true like 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
Yeah, but I think it's changing. So now that in some ways they kind of alluded to this yesterday as well when they did the panel that we need to words matter, so we need to change the way that we talk about it. Yes. So if we continue to say that Midland people won't go to Odessa, but Odessa people will go to Midland, then that's again just perpetuating a stereotype.
100%.
And so there's so many fabulous things about both cities, and again, it's just attitude.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Well, what did Colin say again?
Change your attitude or your address.
Your address. Yeah. He a lot of really great things to say.
Yes.
One of them that really stuck with me is be a river, not a reservoir.
Right. Yep. Pour into others. So going back to backstage event marketing, that's like one thing that I'm trying to do is when I was preparing, just kind of like mentally, where do I want my business to go? What do I want to do? Who do I want to serve? From day one, I knew that it was important to me that I wanted to be able to help people in where I was 10 years ago, because there wasn't necessarily a resource. It was very much trial and error and then trying to figure things out. And it's just like, how would you know? There is like, they don't teach how to market live events in school.
No.
So, and then now with the age of the internet, like there's 1,000 resources, 1,000 plus maybe 1,000,000 resources on like how to be a realtor, but there's still not a lot.
Event marketing.
Yes. And so that's been a big passion of mine. And so I have quite a few blog posts and just recently completed teaching a class on, wasn't exactly event marketing, but it was social media and branding for small businesses. And so I got to teach with Midland College, a group of 15 small business owners. And that was so cool, so awesome. And also in some ways helpful to me, to practice what you preach.
Great point.
As far as like, I try to really stay within the lines as far as, yes, everything is a possibility, but then if it's not in this year projection that I want to like accomplish this year. I'm putting it on I'm not even kidding, this exists on my computer, a really good idea list. Because I'm like, that's a really good idea. Let me just save this.
Yeah.
And then when I'm planning, I typically plan each quarter. But when I'm planning each quarter, I like adjust if something is still like kind of pulling on the heartstrings, or I save it for next year. So that's how I avoid the shiny object syndrome. And I feel like that's hopefully what I was able to kind of help out with that class. But one thing that I'm growing is just resources and classes on specifically event marketing, and also just kind of basics of social media, networking, and branding for small business owners.
I love that you're teaching. Okay. Because like you just said, when you're doing it, you're out in the wild, you're doing it, right? You're doing
Yes.
what you're doing, right?
Yes.
But then when you put it into a curriculum, to a course, that helps you,
Yes.
right, kind of frame what you're doing.
Right.
You know, because when I give classes for Midland College or Howard College, it's the same thing. Okay, I do this every day, right? But when I'm do it, and then you start with your okay, what's the first thing I'm going to say, and how do I progress that through? You're like, oh wow, it's a challenge. It's not easy. You know, that they can learn, they can understand, and you're
have
not
the
jumping
takeaways. Yeah.
Right. The key points, and how you communicate.
Yeah.
You know, how do you show what's in your head?
Right.
You know, to do or not naturally, but because you've developed the skill, right? It's easy to you. Now, for somebody who's just learning, or they're coming to you to learn, how do you communicate that? You know, in that, so it does make you better, right? It helps you frame what you do on your own. And you know, in the golden nuggets that take away the things that you learn while you're pouring into others.
Yes.
To bring it back.
Yes.
Full circle the college.
Yeah.
You know, it's a blessing how it is a river. It's a current.
Right.
And it goes around. So that's a great thing to teaching your craft.
Yes. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
For sure. I have thoroughly enjoyed teaching. It kind of brings what do you call it? A sense of like fulfillment, right? Because I think we caught up. I know I have this lady, right? I get caught up in trying to push the business.
Right.
You know, business. You know, you start looking at numbers, and you're like, oh, okay, I need to make more money. It becomes this kind of, you know, like a machine.
Right.
You're going, and only kind of take a step back from yourself, and you kind of, I guess, get the 30,000-foot view.
Right.
Kind of breathe it in, and who's really running the show?
Right.
You know, Colin alluded to that as well. Well, he didn't allude to it. He said it, right? He said, God, the other thing I like, God room, right? Like, you can only do so much on your own. And he talked about his time when he was just at it, you know, same for me. You know, his example was across the English Channel. You know, if you're halfway across, it's the same effort to go on to the other side as it is to turn back, you know, but it doesn't seem like we can make it because we're depending on ourselves completely, right? 100, you know, I have to make it happen. I have to do this. If I don't do this, I'm not going to get there.
Right.
Right. And that's something I've been going through lately. And like yesterday's meeting was just like,
yes,
confirmation.
Yeah. Yes. There's a lot of aha moments.
Mm-hmm.
So all that to say, if anybody gets a chance to check out Colin Sewell's like talk and the Sewell Leadership Conference that happens every year at Wagner Noel in March, definitely do it. 100%. Sign up.
John Maxwell, you know, you can't just to come to the area is huge. Mm-hmm. You know, and I have an inkling of a feeling by kind of scanning who's who in the Permian Basin, who I've been meeting and had no idea that was here. I mean, we have some really huge like leadership people,
right?
You know, and
also, Midland College does leadership lectures regularly. So does Odessa College. So even connecting to their Facebook pages and seeing what events they have coming up, because oftentimes it is public And so you can do things like that. And then the John Ben Shepherd Leadership Institute,
Got it.
JBS, that is with UTPB. They also bring in a speaker once a year, and it's a free event, and that's held at Wagner Noel. And so there's some really cool things and resources. And I always said this at Wagner Noel, and it still stands true today. Like, all of this cool stuff is happening in your backyard. You don't need to go to Dallas. You don't need to go to Lubbock. It's right here.
It's right here.
Right here.
So take advantage of it.
Yeah.
It's here, right?
And keep supporting, because that's like the big thing too, is like, okay, maybe you are like, oh, I could go to the show on a Saturday night, but I don't feel like it. It's like, we still need people to show up, buy the tickets, so that way it justifies bringing continued people back and going after even bigger names and bigger talent and cool things.
For sure. Right. So it's not just being aware, but getting involved.
Yes.
What is it? What do you want to see something here that hasn't come here? Like who if you were your magic wand, what show would you bring?
Oh gosh. I don't know. I think that's hard, because like I feel like there's like some bucket list artists, especially like with Beyonce right now, going out on her Cowboy Carter tour. That would be fantastic to see, but there's not necessarily a venue that would be able to house that experience, and you can have the same experience, because Beyonce is a talented musician, entertainer. And if you've ever been able to have the pleasure of seeing somebody of that caliber perform, which I have not seen Beyonce, but I've seen like Justin Timberlake. I've seen Paul McCartney. I've seen Britney Spears. Wow. So I've seen some Foo Fighters. Like I've seen quite a bit of
top tier.
Yes, artists, and you want to see them in a venue that their stage it does
supports
it justice.
Yeah.
I think really one of the fun things that is coming up is the Broadway musical performance of The Six. And so that's not until March of 2026.
Okay.
So we've got a little bit of time, but Wagner Noel just announced their Broadway in the Basin series, and I actually traveled to Albuquerque to see The Six, because I was like, there's no way it's coming to Midland, Odessa anytime soon. But they're going to do 2 nights at Wagner Noel.
So who is that? Explain.
So The Six is a Broadway musical, and it's about King Henry's 6 wives. So like Anne Boleyn.
Yeah.
And it's all original music, but each wife has a diva that she's inspired by. And so there's one song, and I got to I like literally just saw it in Albuquerque with my best friend, and we were like, that seems like a Britney Spears song. And then we're like reading the program, and it's like, oh, diva inspiration, Britney Spears. So there's I feel like the music's incredible. It's high action.
Yeah.
And like incredible costumes. So that's like one thing that I'm like super excited to see come to the Permian Basin. But I'm somewhat spoiled, because there's just a lot of artists that I have had the pleasure of seeing in some capacity. And so I feel very, gratitude to be able to, there's a very short for me.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's definitely a perk of the job.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know. But so the Beyonce, say the Taylor Swift.
You ever seen Taylor?
I have not. No.
And she's another one. It's like worth dishing out the cash to go.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
So, but first things first is we need here to be able to hold that.
Yeah, and I think that maybe whenever we're getting close to 500,000 people, once I think we're at that like 750,000, I feel like that may justify bringing more of a stadium type of music venue here. And it's like one of those things, like I feel like that's kind of a wave that is here that we can kind of see where it could go. And I think that there's just opportunity again, just kind of going back to the opportunity,
because we're growing so much that an actual tangible
thing.
Yeah, it can happen, you know. But let's talk about the Wagner Noel stage.
Yeah, so I initially came to Wagner Noel just to do consulting and left with a job offer. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah. And so I just remember just being in complete awe as I drove from Austin to Midland. And again, you're just like, how's this beautiful thing right in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
And the Wagner Noel stage, and it was definitely a joint effort from both communities to put a state of the art facility here in the Permian Basin. So they got 7 different architects together to build this thing, and there's so much. The word is escaping me, but where everything has meaning in there.
Yes.
So the way the building is intended to look as if it came out of the ground, because that's where oil comes from. The pillars inside Wagner Noel, if you look at them, they are not straight up and down. They're at an angle because it's made to look like a core sample. The floor in Wagner Noel in the lobby is limestone from a quarry 10 miles away from the venue. Inside where there's carpet, it's made to look like little pad sites. So like
Location sites.
yeah. So there's just like so much meaning that went into this facility, and it's beautiful and it's so incredible. And anybody who's ever worked at Wagner Noel can probably say there's only 2 flaws. 1, there needs to be a bigger lobby, and 2, more storage.
Nah.
So, but I mean,
thing.
when all things are said and done, you make it work.
It's a beautiful building.
Yes.
You know, and the stage itself is world class.
Yes. And the sound has already been replaced. So now Wagner Noel is going into its 13th year.
Wow.
And the sound continues to just, again, be state of the art. And so oftentimes people will come in and they will like think that they need to use their own sound equipment, do a sound check, realize they definitely don't. And then also do really cool things. Like I was not there at the performance, but Tony Bennett did an acapella without a mic.
Without a mic. I heard about that.
So there's like really cool things like that can happen inside that theater because they're of the way that it's made. All of the air conditioning and heating and venting is on the floor instead of the top. There's Venetian plaster that's on the sides to help it be acoustically sound. And no matter where you are, you're no more than 50 feet away from the stage. So it's just incredible.
It's incredible.
It's an incredible facility.
Absolutely.
And I'm grateful for my time there.
Yeah. And to have a gem like that here.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I don't think enough about it to appreciate it.
Right.
Right. Because it is something that, wow, you go inside, this is.
Yeah. Gorgeous.
Yes.
State of the art talent. And I love the mission, bringing quality live entertainment to the Permian Basin.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that when, you know, kind of, again, going back to yesterday and hearing like, find your passion, find what you want to do. And I feel like one of my biggest like values and passions is to enhance the quality of life in the communities that I'm in through either my business or volunteering my time.
Yes.
And so that's where I have made it like kind of my mission to do. And I know that some people think entertainment could be frivolous, and yeah, you're going to spend $40 to go see a concert. But again, kind of going back to that, like it's been proven that people will spend their entertainment dollars on entertainment because, or excuse me, extra income on entertainment because sometimes you just need to escape. Sometimes you just need to be surrounded by hundreds of your closest friends singing along to a dueling pianos with Benny and the Jets. You know, so
been there, huh?
the whole crowd sing along. So you need those experiences in our lives because it not only brings us together, but also, I want to say entertainment again, but provides entertainment, but also provides just like happiness and joy and also I feel like I can't even tell you the amount of times where I've heard people say, this is so cool to see ZZ Top. This was my dad's favorite band. My dad has passed. And then now you get to do something that for a little bit of moment in time brings you back.
Yeah. It connects you.
Yes.
You know, in multiple levels.
Yes.
Right. Like going to ZZ Top. Yeah, for that individual connecting with their father, you know, but also ZZ Top is they're worldwide, globally recognized.
Right.
And the music you immerse yourself. We're looking for, it's an immersion.
Yeah.
You know, and especially when there's hundreds of other people there that you're immersed with. And frequency is a thing, right? That's what music is, right? Music is a frequency. And see, that's what all of life is. It's different frequencies, different levels. The table has a frequency. Right? So when you're in that, in a similar frequency, you're literally vibing together, right? That creates a lasting impression on you, right? So if you go to a concert and you get, for lack of a term, you get lost in it. Right, you lose yourself. Right, you become one with.
Man, Eminem was going to be brought up twice today. Off air, Angel brought up Eminem, and now lose yourself.
That's what it is, though.
Yeah, lose yourself in the moment.
You gotta lose yourself in the moment, because that's it does connect your community with who you're around with at that time. So music is vitally important to that. Culture, arts, that's the connection. You know. Because it doesn't, I think people think, oh, I'm going to spend $40 on a concert this weekend, or like, no, I'm going to save that $40 and just stay at home and watch Netflix, right? Well, the value that you would get from that $40 is immensely more than what it's the actual number worth.
Right.
You know, because that $40 can go a long ways.
Yeah.
You know, and traditionally that's why it was called a suitcase town, because people
going for those experiences. Yeah, elsewhere.
So now, you know, that we can provide them here.
Right.
You know.
It's in your backyard.
Yeah. Yeah. It's right in your backyard, so why not?
Yep.
You know, go lose yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so super, do you have anything to say to your community, you know, other than what you already have? Something, last words.
Oh my gosh, not anything crazy, but just the fact that courses are dropping for Backstage Event Marketing in June. So whenever you hear this podcast, find us on Instagram, Backstage Event Marketing, and DM us the word course. Okay. And we will send you the link so that way you can kind of get connected. And again, like some things are going to be small business targeted, others are going to be more event marketing focused. So 2 ways to connect, both just following on Instagram, and also on Instagram I have a link to my blog, and so I have a lot of resources that way. But then for sure, if you're interested in courses, DM me the word course at Backstage Event Marketing.
Cool. And in there they can also be part of the newsletter.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I have a newsletter, not as great about it as I should be, but my blog has like a wealth of resources from just my time in the live event space. And essentially what I'm doing is kind of taking my transition manual, I have a very large resource manual that I've been working on for over 15 years. And so I'm just kind of piecing that out and putting it on my blog again to just not be that reservoir, but be that river. So people, no matter where you are on your journey, hopefully there's something you can kind of take and glean and find a little nugget.
I love it. Well, much for what you do. And thank you for coming on the BAM BizTalk podcast, Ms. Ginny.
Thank you, Angel.
Absolutely. It was fun. And we'll see you out in the wild.
Yes. We'll see you out at Founders Blend.
Founders Blend, yes.
On Wednesdays.
Fridays.
First Fridays, yep. In Odessa, first Friday of the month. First Friday ODTX.com is where you can see the full list of schedules. And I'll be there every Friday. But it's like Angel's going to be joining us every other Friday at least.
For sure. Well, man, make it a thing.
I think you should. I feel like it's a lot of synergy and a lot of fun. And if you're a Midlander listening to this and you'd like to check out Odessa, but you don't know where to go, First Friday is a good place to
start.
Venture, because there's 30 places within walking distance of fun or low cost things to do,
right,
including free 5-minute massages. Over at ME Therapeutics, which is just right across the street from the Starbucks that's right next to the Marriott downtown. So
okay, I didn't know about that one.
Yes. Midge is my girl, and she's fabulous.
I'm gonna take a tour.
Yes. Tour of Odessa.
Yes.
At Friday.
No, but I agree. Midlanders, go check Odessa. Right, it is a great little city. The downtown, we're really trying to develop, push it, you know, and grow it.
Yes.
You know, come be a part of it.
Yes.
Let's be neighbors.
Yes.
All right, Miss Jenny, we'll talk
Thank
soon.
you.
Yes, ma'am.